Hi, it's Kada. I took 11 Barbies and Kens from my current collection and turned them into characters from my favorite TV show. And those of you who guessed the TV show Ghosts, you win the internet! Woo! Yes, I absolutely love the TV show Ghosts, the US version. I find that it has such intelligent humor. It also has so much heart. There's a lot of emotional, really great, sweet, kind messages in this show, in addition to also having such wry and slightly naughty humor. It is just so funny, makes me laugh out loud, also makes me tear up. Each character is such a perfect reflection of their time period in history and also perfectly cast. So, since it is No by June, I wanted to do something really special with the current dolls that I already have and turn them into the characters of Ghosts. There are the 8 core Ghosts, in addition to 2 livings, and 1 extra surprise Ghost. It's a character that I cannot get enough of. So because each of these characters are so distinct in their costumes, I had to be very creative in how I chose the clothes. I had to actually DIY some costumes, which I'm not really good at, let's be honest. So I was really delighted at how some of these turned out. Yeah, I had to sew like by hand. I just hand stitched. Like there's any way I could use a sewing machine. I take it back, I can use a sewing machine. It's just tucked away in a closet somewhere. But mostly I used a lot of that Gorilla Putty. Yeah, that stuff works for everything. So what are we waiting for? Let's meet the ghosts of Woodstone Manor. First and foremost, allow me to introduce you to Pete. Look at him with the arrow. So this is a vintage Ken from the 60s or 70s. So he does actually look like older than I feel like Pete is in real life. But I had to buy the glasses. I bought them months ago when I first had the idea to do this. So the glasses are definitely something I needed for sure to represent Pete, but everything else I had in my collection. I had to hand make the arrow out of some feathers and a incense stick. Also a lot of the Gorilla Putty. His glasses were really hard to keep on. So so there's some obvious putty behind his ears. Don't look too closely. It was really hard for me to come up with an Eagle Scout uniform or whatever they call the leader of scouts. But I did print out the badges from the actual Pete's costume and apply those. I made his socks, so I did actually have these greenish colored socks, but Pete's have a high top red cuff to his socks, so I added the red cuff. Pete normally wears hiking boots. This was about as close as I could get. Pete wears a watch. I had a gray one, colored it black with some Sharpie. Just look at how great Pete is. I mean, any fan of Ghosts would look at that and say, that's Pete. Next, we have Pete's love interest, the great jazz diva, Alberta. Look at how beautiful Alberta is. So I made this dress out of the perfect velour fabric that I had. All I had to do was just drape it on Alberta because Alberta is curvy. So I did add this head to a curvy body that really helped fill out the dress, but otherwise it was easy to just wrap it around the curvy body. And then I also made Alberta's shawl, which has brocade on it in real life, from a cloth napkin. And then these tassels were from a pillow I had in the living room. These accents from Alberta's dress are from Barbie earrings that I just cut off. Of course, I had to add layers of long pearl necklaces. I made Alberta's hat with some of that same fabric, and I put it over like a more solid Barbie cap that I had. There's another Barbie earring, and then I didn't have any red feathers. Alberta's feathers are red, so I just added some white, which looks really good. This Barbie body actually does belong to a curvy body doll that I bought back in April, I want to say. And then I replaced the head with a Francie head because I thought that the hair looked a little bit more like Alberta's because Alberta has bangs. Alberta does have more of like a rounded bob, but this did just fine, and especially with the eyelashes and a little bit more fuller face. So that beautiful plump Francie face fits so perfectly with the gorgeous curvy body from the 1920s jazz diva Alberta. Next, we have probably the easiest character I was able to create, and that is the lovely lady of the manor, Hetty Woodstone. Now, I know that Hetty's dress is blue, and it has quite this obvious like sheen on it and layered in petticoats, and I am pretty sure that the actress who plays Hetty actually wears a corset underneath. Like, you can tell that there's a corset underneath there, which, dang, that is commitment to your character. But this beautiful Silkstone Joan Holloway doll already had the red updo and that sort of haughty look to her. And this dress actually came with the doll that I bought Alberta for. So it is the perfect dress to completely reflect the Victorian era that Hetty is from. And yeah, anytime I can add a Silkstone doll to one of my like character features, it's a good day. Because she is so lovely and has such a distinct look. And Hetty is absolutely one of my favorite characters. Next, we have my other absolute favorite character, and that is Trevor Lefkowitz. Yay, Trevor! Mr. No Pants in the flesh. Trevor is like the classic turn of the millennium Wall Street finance bro who's very proud of his education and his frats. Comes across as kind of a real sleazeball, but as the show goes on, you learn what a sweet, good person he is. And the reason he has no pants is because of his hero move of giving away his pants and his underpants to a junior associate who was hazed to walk home without any clothes on. And then, oops, Trevor ends up dying with no pants. So he is destined to be a ghost without any bottoms on. Trevor died in 2000, so business suits often had the white collar, and Trevor's tie was a little bit more, had some more graphic on it, but I wasn't able to replicate that, so I just gave him a pink tie. But I was really proud to find a blue shirt with the white collar. Not in my own collection. I did have to find that on eBay, but I bought it, like well before my No by June as I was planning this feature. And then in order to make it long enough, I did have to combine it with another shirt, which I was glad that Trevor wore a sport coat to kind of hide the combo. Look, I'll show you. See? Because this actually came with white pants. It was a very dated outfit with white pants with like suspenders. So yeah, but all I wanted was the shirt. I mean, can you believe that it came with a pink tie? I mean, it was so descriptive of the era. And so I had the sport coat. I gave him a pocket square. Trevor has kind of high blue and black Argyle socks, but I didn't have any Argyle socks, so purple socks it is, and then just regular business loafers. Oh, and one of the biggest things is that this Ken is actually like a dark blonde, but I colored his hair with like dark eyeshadow. And the actor who plays Trevor, Ashton, so funny. His timing is epic. He's hilarious. I friggin' love Trevor. Next, we have the famously gruff, yet fabulously lovable 10th century Viking, Thor. Okay, so now, oh my gosh, this character's costume in real life is so authentic. I mean, the detail. Like, it wouldn't surprise me to learn that the actor who plays Thor takes like the longest to get ready, because there is so much like tiny detail that you don't even see in the show that the costume has. It is amazing. And there was no way that I could get every single detail, but I did my best. One of the most amazing things is this fantastic like suede apron that I found on Etsy back in April. I actually had this leather looking bag. He does wear some sort of a fur like wrap around him, and this is kind of long because this is actually a coat that I did not want to cut, so it's hanging a little bit lower, a little bit thicker than Thor actually wears. And there are so many more details in Thor's original costume that I didn't get for Thor. But my gosh, this is a lot. And not only that, but look at this. See this strap that he has around him? It's to hold his shield, which I made. This is a button that I covered in like contact paper and then just put like a button in the middle. And then these are wick holders. And then the rest of it I just drew on there with marker and like acrylic pen. Oh my gosh. This was so much fun to make, but also very hard to get it right. Especially like, hello, the beard. Look at that beard. And you're like, what are these? It's because Thor does have like 3 or more like braids in his beard, and then 1 or 2 coming out of his hair. He actually does have like shaved sides, but I didn't want to shave this Ken's hair, so I just slicked it back as best I could. And yeah, this beard that I puttied onto this doll's face is actually Buzz from a dog toy. So yes, the fabulous Viking Thorfinn, who comes across as super gruff and mean and scary, but he's also got such a great heart. And I just gotta say that the character of Thor like really gets me in the feels, because he's the oldest ghost. He's been dead the longest. He has seen every single one of those people die on the property, and then fortunately, or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, they have remained in limbo to become a companion to Thor. But the one that I love the most, the person with whom Thor has the longest relationship with, and it's not Flower, we'll get to her in a minute, but it is with Sasappis. Now, Sasappis is a member of the Lenape tribe, and he died in the 15th century, long before European colonization. So Thor was dead a good 500 years before the next person came along to stay in that property, and that was Sasappis. And they have such a sweet bond. Like, the one episode that literally made me cry was when we learned that Thor learned how to speak Lenape so that he could communicate with Sasappis, who was a new ghost. It's so sweet. I love this show so much. So, Sasappis. Obviously, this doll looks very different than the character of Sasappis, because I was really limited with the clothes that I already had. But I was actually glad that I did have some Native American style clothes that I could dress this doll in. And then I just gave him some feathers and some jewelry, just like Sasappis, the character, wears. And this doll, like, look at that face. This is a Barbie Looks doll. And I always thought he looked very Native American. And he fits this role so perfectly. Just beautiful. So I was so glad I had a doll that could match that level of hotness. And then we have the lovely hippie Flower. Yay, look at this doll. So this doll had normally just perfectly straight brown hair, but I put it in braids and got them wet and then let them dry for a very long time. And now she has like the wavy hair like Flower has. And it's okay that it's kind of like messy because Flower was attacked by a bear in the 60s, and she still has the markings on her face from where the bear attacked her, and also in her back. But I didn't want to slash her clothes or anything, and besides, her hair often covers it, so you don't see the slashes in Flower's back. Flower also does have a little bit more hippie jewelry than this in her necklace and in her earrings, but this was as close as I could get, and it's not bad. She does have dangling earrings and a very big statement necklace, so this was pretty good. What I was really pleased is that I had the round glasses. I had those already, so that made me happy. Flower also does have kind of a large statement bracelet with some like ribbon hanging off of it, so I just kind of gave her that in place. She also does have a patchwork skirt. I didn't have a patchwork skirt, so this was a pretty good cover for that. I found this at the last minute in my own Barbie clothing collection, so I was delighted. You don't really see Flower's shoes very often in the show, but I think she does wear Birkenstocks, but I thought these were a pretty good representation of, like late 60s, maybe more like 70s shoes. But Flower is so lovely and sweet. Like, how could you not love this character? As flibberty-gibbet as she is, she's just very kind and very lovable. And next we have the fabulous Isaac Higgintooth. Look at him. Look at that outfit. Isn't that perfect? I must say that I did buy this on eBay, just the coat, a couple of months ago, like probably back in April or so when I was first envisioning what Isaac would wear. And I think the character of Isaac Higgintooth would be happy to know that this came from a General George Washington doll. So yep, he gets to wear General Washington's coat because, Isaac has an inferiority complex compared to the other founding fathers. So yes, he would be very happy. And I made this frilly cravat or whatever they call it on the show out of just some lace that I had. This doll, this Ken doll is actually, I think maybe a pirate doll. So he did have this long hair, and then I added a black ribbon, which is very representative of how men of the New Republic wore their hair back then. So the rest of this outfit is actually from, I want to say Clark Gable Gone with the Wind doll. Isaac doesn't have a pocket watch, but I didn't want to take it off of this outfit, and it fits really well with Isaac. Isaac does actually wear some taller boots, but these work really well with Isaac. The story that I love about Isaac and his clothes that really moves me to tears from the show is that he died of dysentery in some crappy frontier hospital. So, he was actually wearing this horribly misshapen, filthy robe thing that he was dying in. But his wife, who knew that he was dying, went and got his dress blues, his finery, and dressed him in this so that when he died, he could be wearing these beautiful clothes. God, I'm getting verklempt right now. It's just so sweet. That show is just so sweet. So anyway, Isaac turned out so good, didn't he? He's one of my favorites. And now we have our two livings. Of course, the character that this show would not exist without, and that is Samantha. So I love this doll because, she's typical Barbie looking, right? And Samantha is such a cheerful, sweet person that having that classic Barbie smile and blonde hair was perfect for the role of Samantha. And Samantha, is well known for her knit tops, often light sweater tops. And there was a holiday episode where Samantha had a top very similar to this. So I was delighted to find that. Samantha also has some really cute pants. These kind of have a retro look to them. And I thought they fit Samantha's look really well, especially with these kind of wide cuffs. I don't think Samantha wears heels very often, but I'm not sure. We don't really see her shoes super often, but I thought these went really well with the outfit. I did have to cut this Barbie's hair just a smidge because it was very long Barbie hair and Samantha's cut is more shoulder length. But this doll has the nicest face, and I didn't really have to do much to her to give her a Samantha look. And next, we have Sam's sweet and patient husband, the fabulous chef, Jay. Oh, look at how beautiful. What I love about this doll is that we gave him a beard. Isn't it perfect? And earrings. I put earrings on Jay with a silver acrylic Sharpie, because Jay wears 2 like diamond, I think, studs in his ears. And it's so perfect because Jay has Indian heritage. So it was really great to find a lovely brown male doll, which I actually did buy in March, April, when I was considering what dolls to cast as Jay. So this one was perfect. Jay often wears t-shirts, usually with some sort of logo on it, like Atari or Dungeons and Dragons. And I didn't have in my collection before my No Buy June any kind of quirky pop culture t-shirts. So I just gave him this, I don't know, like California t-shirt. And then of course he often wears just like open button-down shirts over the top of that. Just some regular khakis, and Jay always has great shoes. We know that Jay is a sneaker aficionado. So Jay is just like the most perfectly handsome man, and this doll represents him very well. So that was the core 8 ghosts plus the 2 livings. But I have an extra ghost to show you. And this is one of my favorite characters. Makes me laugh every time they're on screen. Bring more of them. Can you guess? It's Nancy, a basement ghost. Okay, I made this just out of like a sheet. And then I got it dirty with just like wetting down some like black and gray eyeshadow. It's actually much dirtier off camera than what this camera is showing right now. This still looks very white, but it is rather gray and dingy, which I absolutely love. And it's just shapelessness because, the basement ghosts all died of cholera, which we haven't quite figured out. What are they all doing on that property? Was the property something else before it became Woodstone Manor? A hospital of some kind. Either way, there are a bunch of ghosts that live in the basement that all died of cholera, and Nancy is one of them. And she's the one who comes upstairs the most and interacts. Every time Nancy opens her mouth, I am just on the floor rolling. She is so funny. Like the actress who plays her, Betsy, her comedic timing is chef's kiss. So of course I had to include her. More Nancy, please. Those are my 11 dolls that I changed into the characters of the show Ghosts. Which one was your favorite out of all of them? And do you watch the show Ghosts? If so, tell me what your favorite episode was, or moment, or your favorite character, or what you love about the show. I love doing these character makeovers with my dolls, and I'm happy to know that some of you really do too. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!